Momentum Lab, hit like, share and subscribe.
Have you ever felt like you're in a constant losing battle with the clock? Well, today, we're going to talk about a hidden condition that might just be the real reason you're struggling with focus and deadlines. It's called time blindness, and trust me, understanding it could change everything. So, does this sound familiar? You wake up, you tell yourself, okay, today is going to be different, but then somehow the hours just evaporate. You end up missing deadlines, you're keeping people waiting, and you're left with this awful feeling that you're constantly letting everyone down. But what if I told you the cause isn't about laziness or a lack of willpower at all? You see, time blindness is a real neurological condition. It's often linked to things like ADHD and other forms of neurodiversity. It means your brain, your actual brain, has a hard time perceiving time. Just let that sink in for a second. This is not some moral failing. It's about how your brain is wired. So what does it look like? Well, do you consistently think a task is going to take, 10 minutes, but it always ends up taking 45? Do deadlines that are far away feel completely fake until suddenly they're a full-blown crisis and is waiting in line for anything, just an almost physically painful experience for you? Yep, these are all classic signs of time blindness. And that really brings us to the core of the problem, right? If it's an issue with your brain, then just trying harder or telling yourself to be more disciplined is kind of like telling someone who needs glasses to just see farther. It just doesn't work because it's not addressing the root cause. I love this analogy because it perfectly illustrates the experience. Imagine you're standing on a dock, okay? Most people, they can see a ship, that's your deadline, approaching from way out on the horizon. They've got time to get ready. But with time blindness, that ship is basically invisible. You don't see it, you don't feel it getting closer, until it smashes right into your dock, creating total chaos and panic. That's your deadline arriving. And look, science absolutely backs this up. The research from top ADHD expert Dr. Russell Barkley highlights this exact thing. His work shows that the brains of people with time blindness really struggle to reproduce a specific length of time. They just can't manage it effectively. This quote says it all. It's about the wiring, not your willpower. And the consequences of this? Man, they can be devastating. We're talking about real-world problems, losing jobs, straining relationships, financial trouble. But you know what might be the worst part? It's the internal damage. That constant, grinding cycle of shame and self-blame for something you just can't seem to control. But okay, here is the good news. While you can't just change your brain's wiring, you can absolutely give it the right tools. The trick isn't about learning to feel time, it's about learning to see time. So let's dive into a practical toolkit that can help you do exactly that. We're going to start with 3 really foundational strategies, and these are all about one thing: externalizing time. It's about taking time out of your head where it's all fuzzy and abstract and putting it into the physical world where you can actually see it and interact with it. Let's really focus on this first one because honestly, it is a game changer. If you can't feel time, you have to see it, like everywhere. Analog clocks are fantastic because you can literally see the hands moving. But visual timers, the ones where a red disc shrinks as time passes, they are even better. They make the passage of time so tangible it's impossible to ignore. Okay, next up, let's talk about how to deal with the future. A deadline that's 3 months from now, for some brains, that might as well be in another dimension. By breaking it down into small, urgent little chunks, you give your brain that immediate pressure it needs to get started. And this idea of preparing early just so you can be late without actually being late, that's just brilliant. Now for some of the more creative psychological tricks. Using music is such a great way to make time tangible because it attaches a sensory experience to a block of time. You just know that a 3-song playlist is about 10 minutes long. When that 3rd song kicks in, you don't just know time is running out, you can feel it. Same thing with anchoring time to an experience, like saying, this task takes as long as one episode of my favorite show. It translates a meaningless number into something your brain gets. But this strategy right here, this might be my absolute favorite. The phrase 5 minutes feels so abstract it's almost meaningless. It's so easy to say, yeah, I'll do it in 5 minutes. But when you reframe that as 300 seconds, your brain just snaps to attention. 300 is a real number and it's counting down right now. It creates this immediate sense of urgency that 5 minutes just can't compete with. And finally, it is so important to remember that time blindness is a biological issue. For some people, these strategies and tools are going to be enough.
But for others, medical support, like ADHD medication, can fundamentally improve the brain's ability to perceive time. It's a completely valid and often life-changing option to discuss with a professional.
So look, you're not trying to cure time blindness here. You're learning to work with it. You're building a system outside of your head that lets you navigate a world that was built for people who can feel time naturally. Your power isn't in changing your brain, it's in how you choose to respond with these new tools. I really want you to read this and let it sink in. For years, maybe your whole life, you've been told or you've told yourself that you're lazy or unreliable or that you just don't care enough. That is not true. You have been fighting an incredibly hard battle. You just haven't had the right weapons for the fight. But now, you do. And this is the transformation that is totally possible. When you externalize time, you build this scaffolding, this support system for your brain. Deadlines start to feel like manageable milestones instead of sources of terror. You start to gain a sense of control and competence that might have felt out of reach for your entire life. So, I'll leave you with this question. Time blindness does not have to define you or your future. By understanding it, by using these strategies, you can actually shift your relationship with time from one of constant conflict to one of cooperation. And the power to do that, it starts right now.